Okay, hi y'all. We are going to be talking about how to write the Q3 essay, also known as the open-ended essay for the AP exam. This talks about why the Q3 essay is so wonderful. And basically, it comes down to this. For the Q3 essay, you have the most amount of control over what you can write about, and it's the one that we can prepare the most for. So, historically, this has been our best essay year after year for the AP exam, and it's the essay that students enjoy writing the most. So, I think you're really going to enjoy it. Um, let's look at some examples here. So over here on the left-hand side, we have question 2. This is the one that we wrote like a week ago. And as you can see for question 2, you have a prompt, and then you have a passage that you have to analyze, and then of course write the essay and do all of that in 40 minutes. As you know, that's a really tough thing to do, and it takes a lot of work. Q3, of course, takes work as well, but what makes Q3 a little bit simpler is that this is all you're getting for Q3. You get a prompt, and then you get to choose what book you're writing about, or you can write about a play. So there's not like an additional passage that you have to analyze. It gives you a question, and then you apply it to a book of your choice. So you've already done all of the analysis work, you've already written essays about this text, you have talked about it in class, you've talked about it with me, and so it is the one that you have the most control over. Take a second to go ahead and read this prompt, because this is the prompt we're going to be working with all day today, as well as Monday and Tuesday in class. All right, so basically you're going to choose a novel or play, and you are going to write about a scene or multiple scenes of violence, and then talk about how that violence contributes to the meaning of the work as a whole. Meaning of the work as a whole just means theme. So like all AP essays, you have approximately 40 minutes to answer this essay. It lists a big topic or subject from literature and asks you to talk about how that subject reveals the meaning of the work as a whole, meaning theme. In this case, how does the violence reveal the theme? You have to choose one, and really just one work of literary merit with which to respond to the prompt. So you're choosing one book or one play. You're not writing about multiple books and multiple plays. You're writing about just A Thousand Splendid Suns, or just A Zoot Suit, or just The Great Gatsby. You are not going to have the text in front of you, so you're expected to remember characters, major events of the plots, quotes, values, overall themes, so on and so forth. And this is why we've been doing those novel synopsis sheets, because right before the AP exam, you're going to want to review all of that so that it's fresh in your mind and you can insert it into Q3 essays. For the past couple of years, each of these prompts have started with a thematically linked quote. This one doesn't in particular because it's from 1982, before I was even born. But recently they have. The quote doesn't really mean anything. You just want to look at the prompt. And big buzz themey words have been the go-to on this exam. Examples include symbol, justice, foil, exile, the past, surroundings, cruelties, etc. So let's look again at this 1982 prompt, the one that we're actually going to be writing about over the next couple days. Read it, and then what's the big buzzword for this Q3 prompt? I want you to write it here, right now, on your paper. Do it. All right, and the answer, of course, is violence. So this is going to be the violence essay. If you haven't written that, go ahead and write it now. So now let's talk about how we actually go about writing this essay. I recommend 5 different steps. First one is to read the prompt. Read it, annotate the prompt fully. The prompts will always ask you to do more than one task. Most often they have 3 separate parts. This 1982 one has 2 different parts, which is one of the reasons why we're starting with it, because it is easier to tackle than one of the ones with 3 parts. But it always has more than one thing, promise. Step 2 is to pick one text, really one. I'm gonna underline that, yeah. Okay, the key is to pick the best possible work to answer the question. Maybe you could make Zoot Suit, excuse me, maybe you could make Zoot Suit work for all of the prompts, but is that really the best fit for the question? I don't know. You also want to make sure that you pick a work that you remember really well, that you've analyzed, and that you can talk about from memory. So if you did not understand A Thousand Splendid Suns at all, then don't use it. If you understood Zoot Suit really, really well, and it has a scene of violence, and you can talk about the theme, great, write about that one. If you read Into the Wild in 10th grade, and now you don't really remember it, but you think maybe it has a scene of violence, that's probably not your best choice. You want to set yourself up well by choosing a book that you know really well and that applies to the prompt. Then you're going to do some planning. So steps 3 and 4 are all about planning. Step 3 is writing out your thesis statement and ensure that it answers all parts of the prompt and has a so what or a theme. And then step 4 is to brainstorm what different details and scenes you're going to use throughout the book to support your argument. Much like Q2, you have to write about the whole thing. You can't leave out a chunk. So you have to write about the beginning of the text, you have to write about the middle of the text, and you have to write about the end. If you leave out a big chunk of the text, then it's considered partial, which is characteristic of a 4. And then step 5 is to write quickly and write a lot. You should have a lot to say. You want to aim for 3 pages. And remember that you don't have to spend any time here like breaking down a passage and trying to figure out like what does this word mean and where's the shift in this particular whatever. You already know this text really well. So you should have a lot to say and be writing at least 3 pages. Let's go over some helpful hints. The first helpful hint is that we want to think about very specific micro instances leading into the larger meaning of the work. The AP readers want to hear how tiny detailed specifics reveal a theme. So if you look at this example, a tiny specific detail would be a snail. The larger idea would be, what is this, like a food chain or whatever? So if we look at A Thousand Splendid Suns, the tiny detail would be these stones from Miriam's pocket spilling out of her pocket leads to the larger idea, the themes of family and abandonment. If you remember nothing else from this video, remember that Q3 is all about theme, and you should always, always, always be leading up to theme in your analysis. Another example would be how Hank's exclamatory syntax in Zoot Suit reveals different themes of emotion, uncertainty, questioning his leadership, all of those things. Another helpful hint is to have a really interesting hook, or to at least be accurate from the beginning. Keep in mind that these AP graders are grading thousands of essays, and if you don't say something beginning or accurate from the beginning, they're going to tune out and not pay full attention to your essay. So be good from the beginning. Helpful hint 3 is to memorize a set of quotes from the book that best encapsulate the themes of the work, or even remember ideas from discussions or your own essays. So again, that's why we're doing novel synopsis sheets. That's why we're saving your essays so that you can go ahead and refer back to those as needed. Potential pitfalls are picking a book that you don't remember very well, summarizing the plot. This is not a book report. It is not a summary. It is all analysis. Why were these particular choices made in this particular text? How does it contribute to theme? Do not summarize it even for a sentence at all, ever. Writing less than 2 pages is also another pitfall. If you do that, you will not score above a 5 or a 6. You should have a ton to say about your book because you got to prepare it in advance. You've already done analysis on this. You've stolen bits of analysis from people in discussion. You should have a ton to say, and you have the time to write it because you're not breaking down an entire passage. Oh, God. All right, the rest of this we will work on in class on Monday, so please bring this back with you. There will be a short quiz to prove that you have watched the video and internalized the information that I've just given you. If you have any questions, go ahead and write them down here or wherever, and we will continue on the Q3 train. Okay, bye.